Okay, now we move to our second session. Latest amendment of hotel industry and restaurant. I welcome on this session's faculty on Zoom meeting, advocate and tax consultant, Jhalak ma'am. Please ma'am, welcome. Please give a huge round of applause for her. Now I request President Kailas Kashi sir, please introduce our today's faculty, Jhalak ma'am.
Thank you, Bidkar ma'am. Thank you, Bidkar ma'am, for giving me an opportunity to introduce today's speaker, advocate Jhalak ma'am. यहाँ तो वही दीपक है, तो जितना बांटा जाएगा उतना ही अधिक प्रकाश फैलाता है। आज हमें टैक्सेशन के क्षेत्र में एक प्रतिष्ठित विशेषज्ञ एडवोकेट जलक सुधीर कुमार दलाल मैम के मार्गदर्शन का अवसर मिला। एक कुशल अधिवक्ता और गृह सलाहकार है, जिन्होंने जीएसटी और रेलवे के क्षेत्र में 7 वर्षों से अधिक का अनुभव अर्जित किया है। वे गुजरात में कार्यरत और 2020 से बार काउंसिल ऑफ गुजरात और बार काउंसिल ऑफ इंडिया के पंजीकृत अधिवक्ता है। Dignitaries of the class, President MTPA, Advocate Prasad Ji Deshpande, Chairman of Study Circle Committee, and past President Mr. Navneet Lal Ji Bola, and Secretary Advocate Naneshwar Ji Naravade, Convener Mrs. Ashwini Bidkar Madam, Subhash Ji Godke, and all the online participants. I myself, Kailas Kashi, Treasurer of MTPA and Secretary of All India Federation of Tax Practitioner Association, West Zone, stand here to introduce today's learned speaker, Advocate Jhalak Suhil Kumar Dalal, and hold some masters in law, LLM in human rights from VNSG, Surat, and has made significant contributions to the field of taxation. Madam elected as a managing committee member of West Zone of All India Federation of Tax Practitioners Association for the year 24-25. विद्या धन से बड़ा कोई धन नहीं और सही मार्गदर्शन से बड़ी कोई शक्ति नहीं. Madam delivered expert lectures on provision relating to cancellation and revocation of registration under GST law. Active trade trustee in the second Anil State Memorial Referendum Court organized by Gujarat State Bar Association at Ahmedabad. Published multiple articles on GST related topics in renowned professional journals, including Sales Tax Journal, IT Mirror, AFTP, Indirect Journal, GST Review, Tax Guru, and Taxman. Education and credentials. Madam has completed her BCom in taxation from SPB English Medium College of Commerce, Surat in first class. LLB from BT Churchill Law College, Surat. LLM in Human Rights from BNSD, Surat in first class. Certified in Cyber Law from BT Churchill Law College, Surat. सही जानकारी सही समय पर सही व्यक्ति तक पहुंचे तो वह सफलता का द्वार खोल देती है. Ms. Dalal Madam has remarkable expertise in GST litigation, compliance and advisory services, making her a respected professional in taxation. समय के साथ चलना बुद्धिमानी है, लेकिन समय से आगे चलना सफलता की कुंजी है. Today, Madam will be enlightening us on the latest amendment GST framework for hotel and restaurant industry. A crucial topic that impacts business professionals and policymakers alike. समस्या कोई भी हो, उसका समाधान सही ज्ञान और सही मार्गदर्शन ही संभव है। तो आइए हम जोरदार तालियों के साथ
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir, for such a nice introduction of ma'am. Now, I request Chairman Navneetlal Goda, sir, to felicitate ma'am, and I request committee member Subal Godge, sir, on behalf of ma'am, please accept this. Ma'am, this is for you.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. Without wasting of any time, I request ma'am, please share your valuable knowledge in acting on today's subject. Over to you, ma'am.
Am I audible and my PPT is visible on the screen?
Yes, sir, ma'am, you audible.
Good afternoon to all my seniors in the profession and my colleagues and my dear friends. I am thankful to the Maharashtra Tax Practitioners Association for giving me this opportunity to deliver my speech on latest amendment of hotel industry and restaurants. I personally thank the President Shri Prashad Deshpande sir, Chairman of Study Circle Committee Shri Navneet Bhai Bora sir, convener of Study Circle Committee, Mrs. Ashwini Bidkar ma'am, and Shri Narendra Sonwale sir, for inviting me and giving me this opportunity to share my knowledge on the subject latest amendment of hotel industry and the restaurant. Let's understand the hotel and restaurant industry importance in India. India is most popular travel destination across the globe, and it is one of the key drivers of economy among service sectors in India. It is widely acknowledged industry which includes travel and hospitality services like hotels and restaurants. It acts as a development agent, catalyst for socio-economic growth, and significant source of economic for uh, foreign exchange gains in many countries, and India is one of the same country. Let's know the types of services provided by hotel and restaurant. The hotel accommodation service, the restaurant service, food and beverages services in the Indian Railways, ice cream parlor service, tourism and outdoor catering services, food services through e-commerce operators. These all services are provided by the hotel and restaurant industry. The Federation of In India, the Federation of Hotel and the Restaurant Association of India is the apex body and the voice of the Indian hospitality industry. It is incepted in 1955. It represents 60,000 hotels and the 5 lakhs restaurants of India. It is working closely with the government and policy making bodies from many years. During COVID, this hotel body has seek PM's help to overcome the crisis. It plays intermediary role between the hospitality industry and the government, political leadership, industry bodies, consumer groups, academia, international association, and other stakeholders of the society. Let us know the hotel industry GST rate before this amendment, which has come into effect from 1st April 2025. So before the 1st April 2025, the hotel whose room rent is up to 7,500 per day, the GST rate is 12% and ITC is available. For the hotel rooms whose rent is 7,501 and more than that, For per day, the GST rate is 18% and full ITC is available. It both the entries falls under the heading 9963 accommodation and beverage and food accommodation, food and beverage services. Now let's know the rate for the restaurant industry. There are various types of restaurant services are uh, provided in India. Uh, on the screen, we can see all types of restaurant industry services. First service is the restaurant who is not having hotel in their premises and the restaurant having the air conditioned environment. For that, the GST rate is 5% GST and the ITC is not available for that. For the food parcel or the takeaway services, the GST rate is 5% and the ITC is not available. For the restaurant in a hotel premises, having room tariff of less than 7,500 per unit per day, the GST rate is 5% and the ITC is not available there also. For the restaurant in a hotel premising having the room tariff of 7,500 and above. So the restaurant who is in the hotel premises and the room premises is more than 7,500 for the per day per unit. Even for a single room, the GST rate is 18% and the ITC is available. For the in the Indian Railways, the Indian Railway Catering and the Tourism Corporation Limited and their licenses provided the food and beverages services. For that, the GST rate is 5% and the ITC is not available. Uh, it falls under the heading 9963 accommodation, food and the beverage services. Now let's understand the rate for the catering services. Currently, the outdoor catering services, which is not in a hotel premises, which is in a hotel premises, and the accommodation rate is up to the 7,501. In that case, all the GST rate is 5% and the ITC is not available. For the service of mandap keeping services, the GST rate is 5% and the ITC is not available. For the catering services, in a hotel premises where the daily tariff of a unit of accommodation is 7,501 and more than that. In that case, the GST rate is 18% and the ITC is available. For the ice cream parlor, two circulars has been issued. The circular number 177 oblique 9 oblique 2022 declared on the 3rd August 2022 has clarified that for the ice cream parlor, the GST rate is 18% and the ITC is available. Earlier to that, the circular number 164 oblique 20 oblique 2021 has been issued on 6 October 2021, and it has clarified that the ice cream parlor is selling the manufacturing ice cream. So it does not have the character of a restaurant. They are selling the goods. So the ice cream is considered here as a goods. So the ice cream sold by a parlor or the similar ice cream outlet parlor GST rate is 18% and the ITC is fully available for that. On the 16th January 2025, two important notification has been issued for the hotel and the restaurant industry. And they are notification number 5 of the 2025 central tax rate dated 16 January 2025. And the second is the notification number 8 oblique 2025 central tax rate dated 16 January 2025. These both the taxpayer now have to decide before the 1st April 2025 whether they have to give any declaration or not and what is the tax burden on them. So let's try to understand these recently declared notifications first. The first notification is notification number 5/2025, which is declared on 16 January 2025. It has three major changes. The specified premises concept, which was already there, has been substituted now. And the declared tariff concept, which was there by the notification number 11/2017, it is deleted now. So the whole concept has been omitted. So the concept of declared tariff has been not there from 1st April 2025. And the third changes in the filing of the declaration before the 31st March 2025 by using Annexure 7, 8, and 9. Now let's discuss these three major changes at length. First, we will discuss what is the specified premises, which is originally prescribed in the notification number 11/20/2017 central tax rate, which is declared on 28th July 2017, and which is subsequently now substituted by the notification recently declared on the 16th January 2025, that is notification number 5/2025 central tax rate. When a hotel accommodation service in the preceding financial year has provided a value of supply of any unit of accommodation is more than 7,500 per day per unit, in such a case, that premises will be considered as a specified premises from 1st April 2025. So the specified premises has to file the declaration in the annexure prescribed in the notification number 5/2025 central tax rate. Through this photograph, we can just guess which can be the specified premises. As we can see, with the hotel rooms, there is a restaurant and the banquet service as well there. When a hotel accommodation services value of supply is more than 7,500 per day per unit, in such a situation, it will be considered as a specified premises. The resort can be also a specified premises if the value of the supply is more than 7,500, if a hotel accommodation service is provided as well. Through this, we have already discussed the clause A, what is specified premises. Now let's discuss the clause C. The clause C talks about the new registration taxpayer compliance, which the new registration taxpayer who has taken the new registration has to do the compliance from 1st April 2025. A new registration taxpayer who has within the he has to a new registration taxpayer who is a specified premises has to file the within the 15 days of acknowledgement of registration, has to file the declaration in Annexure 7, Annexure 8, opt-in declaration for person applying for registration to declare their premises as specified premises. Different annexures are inserted in the notification number 5/2025. Now, let's know who has to file this declaration and which declaration has to be filed by whom person. So we can do the compliance well. The annexure number 7, that is for the opt-in declaration for registered person. It is to be filed by the registered person who supplies hotel accommodation service before the jurisdictional GST authority, declaring that the premises to be a specified premises. So the hotel accommodation who is a specified premises has to give this declaration in the Annexure 7, that is the opt-in declaration for registered person. The Annexure 8 has to be given by the opt-in, has to be given by the person who has a specified premises and who has applied for the new registration. And this annexure has to be filed before the jurisdictional GST authority. The opt-out declaration, that is the Annexure 9, that has to be filed by the registered supplier of a hotel accommodation service who is no more the specified premises, and it has to be filed before the GST authority. Let's go through once the various declaration in the annexure. The Annexure 7, as I have discussed, is an opt-in declaration for the registered person. The Annexure 8, the opt-in declaration for person applying for registration. Annexure 9, that is the opt-out declaration. These three declarations have to be filed before the GST jurisdictional authority. And what is the, now question comes in our mind, what is the time limit for filing this annexure? For filing the annexure number 7 and 9, the annexure 7 is the opt-in declaration for registered person and the annexure 9 is the opt-out declaration. It has to be filed for the preceding financial year before the 31st March and after the 1st January of the preceding financial year. So for the financial year 25-26, somebody has raised the hand. And so for the financial year 25-26, the declaration in the prescribed annexure has to be filed between 1st January 2025 to 31st March 2025. I will later on answer the questions. While filing the annexure, one should take into the mind that the annexure has to be filed for a financial year, and for each premises, it has to be filed separately before the jurisdictional GST authority. Now, let's discuss the second notification, notification number 8/2025, central tax rate, which is declared on 16 January 2025. This new notification number 8 has removed the e-commerce levy, which was introduced by Section 9, subsection 5. Before this amendment come into force, the e-commerce operator is liable to pay for the restaurant services for these specified premises as well. But from 1st April 2025, the e-commerce operator will be no longer liable to pay GST in respect of the restaurant services provided by restaurants, and that restaurant has opted for the specified premises status. It means they have filed the declaration in the Annexure 7. And in case of the new registration, the annexure number 8. Now let's know the scenario of GST rates for the hotel and restaurant services from 1st April 2025. For the standalone restaurant, the GST rate is 5% and no ITC will be allowed. Here the standalone restaurant means the restaurants are not attached to any hotel. They are just providing the restaurant services, and it is also having or not having the air conditioned facility. A hotel which is a specified premises and having more than 7,500 value of supply for per unit per day. It includes restaurant services and catering services as well. And the GST rate is 18% and ITC is allowed. For the hotel accommodation services, value of supply of a unit accommodation, if it is less than or equal to 7,500, the GST rate is 12% and the ITC is not allowed. So the hotels which are providing the hotel accommodation service and their room rent is less than 7,500. Sorry, room rent means here the value of supply of a unit for per day. If it is less than 7,500, the GST rate will be 12% and the ITC will be allowed. But if the value is more than 7,500 and it will be covered under the specified premises definition, as I have discussed in the notification number 5/2025. And along with that, if any restaurant services or catering services are provided, in such a case, the GST rate will be 18% and the ITC will be allowed, and that hotel accommodation has to file the annexure number 7 before this 31st March 2025 for the financial year 25-26. Now let's understand the implication of this amendment. The specified premises who is having a value of supply on any unit accommodation above 7,500 per day per unit in the preceding financial year. That means in the financial year 2024, the value of supply of any hotel accommodation is above 7,500. In such a case, he has to file the Annexure 7, the opt-in declaration before 31st March 2025 for each of the premises. So for the each unit, we can say the each premises before the jurisdictional GST authority, the Annexure 7 has to be filed. And for this specified premises, the GST rate is 18% and the ITC is available. Right now, there is no annexures are available on the GST portal. So in the jurisdictional GST authority, we have to provide the manual copy format. This annexure has to be filed. That is what my personal view. E-commerce operator is no longer liable to pay under RCM, which was earlier levied under Section 9, subsection 5 of the CGST Act before 1st April 2025. So in this situation, when order was placed on Zomato or Swiggy or through any e-commerce operator, the specific premises has to pay 18% GST and the ITC is available, and this 18% has to be paid under forward charge from 1st April 2025. Earlier, this levy was covered under the RCM and the e-commerce operator was paying the tax. The premises of a hotel accommodation in the preceding financial year whose supply has been less than 7,500 does not require to file opt-in declaration in the Annexure 7. And for those hotel accommodation premises, the tax rate is 12% with ITC. There is no change in the standalone restaurant. The concept of declared tariff has been no relevance from 1st April 2025. But let's discuss what was earlier in the law. The concept was originally introduced by notification number 20 of the 29 central tax rate on 18 November 2021, which has come into effect from 1st October 2029. It is not relevant here to discuss much because this whole concept has been deleted now. Thank you for the patient hearing. Now let's take the questions. I have already received the few questions from the association. I would like to address those questions first. In this scenario, wherein the value of supply exceeds 7,500 due to accommodation of an extra person in a room, and whether and in such instances, would it be qualified as a specified premises? That is the question I have received already. I believe this is a situation of triple occupancy room. And I believe the value of supply, if exceeds 7,500 per day, in such a case, in a room, in a particular room, it would qualify as a specified premises, and the GST rate is 18% and the ITC is allowable. And this unit has to file specified premises annexer number 7 before 31st March 2025. The another question is, what is the tax implication for two separate entities operating within the same premises? One providing accommodation service and the other is offering the restaurant services. Where the accommodation charges is more than 7,500. I believe when two separate entities are there, on two separate PAN, two units are operating. First one is providing the hotel accommodation service and the second one is providing the restaurant service. In such a case, the hotel will attract accommodation unit will be the specified premises, and it has to file the annexer 7 before the 31st March 2025, and the GST rate will be 18% and the ITC is available. And for the restaurant, it is I will consider it as a standalone restaurant. So the GST rate is 5% and no ITC will be available. So for the restaurant, there is no change. But for the hotel accommodation services, the GST rate will be 18% with ITC availability, subject to he files the declaration in annexer number 7. The another question is, what is the GST implication for a single entity operating accommodation and restaurant services across different locations, but registered under a single PAN, where accommodation charges at one location 7,500. In such a situation, where the hotel accommodation charges exceed 7,500, the declaration has to be filed and it will be qualified as a specified premises. So the GST rate will be 18% for that specified premises where exceeds the 7,500. And for the other premises, the hotel accommodation rate whose value is less than 500, the GST rate will be 12% with ITC. That is what I personally believe. If any other questions are there, anyone can ask.
Please, sir, ask your question.
Hello.
You are audible, sir.
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Hello. हेलो मैडम, आवाज आ रही है?
हाँ, आ रही है, सर. You can ask the question.
मैडम, मेरा क्वेश्चन ये था कि अगर मेरा ओनली एकोमोडेशन है, बाकी रेस्टोरेंट सर्विसेज नहीं है, तो 7,500 से कम है तो भी डिक्लेरेशन हमें सबमिट करना होगा या नहीं?
सर आपको डेक्लेरेशन नहीं देना होगा क्योंकि आपका वैल्यू ऑफ सप्लाई है वो 7,500 से कम है। सो आपको डेक्लेरेशन नहीं देना। दैट्स व्हाट आई बिलीव।
तो बाय डिफॉल्ट हमें 5% भरना है या 12% टैक्सेस?
दिस जीएसटी रेट विल बी 12% विथ आईटीसी इफ आपके केस में रहेगा, क्योंकि आपका वैल्यू ऑफ सप्लाई है वो 7,500 से कम है। इट इज बिलो द 7,500, सो द जीएसटी रेट विल बी 12% विथ आईटीसी।
ओके, विदाउट आईटीसी नहीं जा सकते उसमें?
विदाउट आईटीसी तो सर होटल अकोमोडेशन में पॉसिबल नहीं है। फॉर द
ओके
रेस्टोरेंट देर इज अ ऑप्शन ऑफ विदाउट आईटीसी।
ओके ओके मैडम, थैंक यू।
One more question in chat box. Advocate Rajesh Joshi, what is the position for a standalone restaurant? Is there any change
No,
than
there
prior
is
to
no
31st March?
No, there is no change for the standalone restaurant. Before 1st April 2025, the GST rate was 5% and no ITC was available. And after 1st April 2025, the GST rate remains the same, 5%, and no ITC is available. So for the standalone restaurant, there is no amendment, there is no change, and there is no compliance they have to be made, in my view.
Mr. Solone sir raised his hand to ask the question. Sir, please ask your question.
Sir, please, you may ask the question.
Hello.
Yeah, Balram sir.
Yeah, good afternoon, ma'am. Thank you for your valuable insight, first of all. My question is, ma'am, for example, there is a hotel who want to revise its declaration. If initially, he or she may opted only 5% rate without ITC, but later want to, offer the 18% within the same year. Is it possible?
आई वुड लाइक टू क्लैरिफाई दैट यहाँ पे कोई ऐसा कोई अभी तक गवर्नमेंट ने क्लैरिफिकेशन दिया नहीं है कि आप एक बार एनेक्स डेक्लेरेशन फाइल करने के बाद उसमें कुछ चेंज कर पाएंगी नहीं।
Yes, ma'am. That is only the clarity where, people are, aware to know whether that option is still or not. So that was the clarity was not, whether he can go or not. Let's say generally composition में or transportation में होता है. So that was the curiosity, Is there any deadline or
Yes.
date, like, in the transportation, there is a deadline, something like that?
For the annexer, there is a deadline of 31st March 2025. And that declaration has to be filed for the financial year 25-26. For the upcoming year, we on the last day of the preceding financial year is the last date for filing the declaration.
Okay. Ma'am, just with related to same question
And
only.
for the
Yeah, with related to, let's say for example, hotel, they have booked our booking on 31st March 2025, but they continued for, let's say, 7 days ka. So next year goes, let's say, मेरा 6th of April 2025 आता है. So how does the, staying beyond extent? So how does this will imply or, comply in the this new act? Let's say 31st March को पहले मेरा बुकिंग हो गया था 7 days के लिए. So 6th April, so what could be the implication in tax?
सपोज आपका जो टैक्स इनवॉइस है वो 31st मार्च का रहेगा, तो फिर उस हिसाब से आपका टैक्स एप्लीकेशन रहेगा। एंड इफ द बिलिंग इज on or after 1st April 2025, the new GST rate will be applicable and the new amendment will be applicable to you. That is what I personally believe.
Because generally the billing happens, when the checkout or something, because point of taxation comes when the completion of service, right? So
Yeah.
completion of service does not mean when I check in. It happens only when I check out, right? So that was the
in the current scenario, when at the time of checkout the billing is done, so I believe the new rate, which is from 1st April 2025, should be charged there to avoid the litigation.
Okay, no, so that was not, it is like inception between pre and prior. That was the post and pre. Anyway, ma'am, thanks for your insight. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Balaram sir. Okay, thank you. Ma'am, we will take some questions from the chat box. First one, Chaitanya Sadekar sir from Satara. What is the consequence for the standalone restaurant for non-filing of annexation?
I will again say for the standalone restaurant, there is no need to file any type of annexure declaration. There is no compliance he has to or she has to do in case they are the owner of the standalone restaurant who is not having hotel restaurant in their premises and they are only providing the restaurant services. They are the called standalone restaurant. They don't have to file any annexure declarations.
Okay. Then next, Advocate Rajesh Joshi sir, what about the food delivery by standalone restaurant through Swiggy or Zomato? What is the rate for that tax?
The GST rate is 5% and the ITC is not available. But from 1st April 2025, the e-commerce operator not has to pay the RCM on this transaction. Apart from that, the restaurant has to pay the tax and the rate will be 5% without ITC. That is what I personally believe when I interpret this two notification like this.
See, Yatish sir from Goa. Can standalone restaurant going for the fresh registration go in for the 18% with ITC?
I believe for the restaurant, there is only one rate that is 5% without ITC. This declaration is only for the specified premises who is providing the hotel accommodation service as well with the restaurant services. For the standalone restaurant services, there is no need to file any declaration. Once again, I would like to repeat that there is no need to file any declaration and there is no change in the tax rate.
Bhagyesh Shah sir, if the room rent is below 7,500, but with the extra bed charges, it goes beyond 7,500. So it shall be fall under the specified premises?
Yes, it will fall under the specified premises. That's what I believe because it exceeds the 7,500. The value of supply exceeds the 7,500 for per day per unit for a single occupancy room. So it qualifies as a specified premises and the GST rate is 18% and the ITC is available and they have to file the Annexure 7.
What is the consequence for standalone premises for non-filing of annexure?
The standalone restaurant do not have to file any declaration. There is no change in GST rate. There is no compliance required from standalone restaurants.
Okay, we will take last two queries and we'll conclude this session. On the liquor sale, VAT is to be charged on gross sale or net sale after deducting VAT by calculating sales into 10% by 110. This is the VAT query. Okay, we'll go with the next. Before March 25, we have different tariff for the different category of room. Some tariff is below 7,500 and some above 7,500. In this case, can I file annexure? Can annexure be filed?
Yes, annexure can be filed because the some units of the hotel are exceeding that limit of 7,500. So I believe that unit of the hotel accommodation has to file the annexure 7.
Okay, ma'am. And the last the participant Chaitanya Sadekar sir, he want to ask the question. We will unmute him. You just listen the question.
Okay.
Sadekar sir.
Good afternoon, madam.
Good afternoon.
मैडम उस पे स्पेसिफाइड प्रीमाइसेस के लिए अगर हमने एनेक्शर फाइल नहीं किया तो उसका कॉन्सिक्वेंसेस क्या हो जाएगा? मतलब हम क्या लूज करेंगे अगर 31 मार्च से पहले हमने फाइल नहीं किया सपोज, तो क्या हो सकता है? क्योंकि आज के तारीख में हमारा हमको मालूम नहीं ना आगे जाके हम 7,500 में रूम कुछ सेल करने वाले हैं क्या नहीं, अबाउ 7,500, तो उसका
बराबर।
कॉन्सिक्वेंसेस कुछ है क्या?
अभी उसमें क्या है कि गवर्नमेंट ऐसा व्यू ले सकती है
हम्म,
कि दी all transaction will be covered under 18% if the specified premises declaration not filed in such a case. But it can't be said what will the government or the revenue will take the actions.
ओके। मीन्स सभी होटल होटल ओनर ने सबमिट करना चाहिए क्या एनेक्शर्स जो सेवन थाउजेंड
हाँ
फाइव हंड्रेड
हाँ,
बिलो है?
जो बिलो 7,500 है उनको मेरे ख्याल से कोई एनेक्सर देने की रिक्वायरमेंट नहीं है।
नहीं है,
जो
ओके।
7,500 के ऊपर जिसकी जाती है वैल्यू ऑफ सप्लाई उनको एनेक्सर फाइल कर देना एडवाइजेबल
ओके,
है।
एडवाइजेबल है। वो
या
एनेक्सर किस लिए गवर्नमेंट ने इंट्रोड्यूस किया है, तो उसके पीछे रीजन क्या है?
आई बिलीव
रीजन।
आई बिलीव देर आर मैनी होटल हु हैव अ बिग बिजनेस और
ओके,
उनका क्या रहता है डिफरेंट डिफरेंट लोकेशन पे उनके होटल अकोमोडेशन सर्विसेज होते हैं, यूनिट्स होते हैं। तो कुछ कुछ यूनिट में 7,500 एक्सिट्स होते हैं और कुछ कुछ यूनिट्स में नहीं होते। कुछ कुछ प्रीमाइसिस में 7,500 का लिमिट क्रॉस नहीं होता। तो जहाँ पे क्रॉस होता है वहां पे दे वुड लाइक टू चार्ज 18% जीएसटी।
ओके, ओके। लास्ट मैडम, अभी करंटली 7,500 बिलो जिधर टैरिफ है उसमें रेस्टोरेंट का जो सप्लाई होता है उसके ऊपर हम 5% चार्ज करते हैं।
या
लेकिन उस फाइनेंशियल ईयर में कभी भी 18% का हमने यूनिट सेल किया तो उसके ऊपर सब रेस्टोरेंट के ऊपर हम 18% टैक्स पे करते हैं ना, रेस्टोरेंट
हाँ।
सेल के ऊपर, क्योंकि 12%
हम्म।
पे करते हैं हम एकोमोडेशन सर्विस के ऊपर, और रेस्टोरेंट के ऊपर हम 18% करते हैं।
या
बराबर ना? फिर उसमें अभी ये अमेंडमेंट किया है, इसलिए कुछ उसका इम्प्लीकेशन है क्या उसमें, या नहीं है कुछ?
अभी अभी क्या होगा, अभी जो 7,500 को एक्सीड करेगा
हम्म।
वैल्यू ऑफ सप्लाई फॉर द होटल अकोमोडेशन सर्विस, इन सच
ओके,
अ केस द रेस्टोरेंट सर्विसेज सेम प्रीमाइसिस में रहेगा, सेम एंटिटी में, तो फिर
ओके।
वहां पे जीएसटी रेट विल बी 18%।
वो तो आएगा ही ना सर मैडम, लेकिन
हम्म।
बिलो 7,500 रहेगा तो उस प्रीमाइसेस में रेस्टोरेंट सेल के ऊपर कितना टैक्स रहेगा?
फिर अगर जो 7,500 से
बिलो
वैल्यू
रहेगा
ऑफ बिलो रहेगा तो फिर वहां पे आपका रेट आई विल से
5% या 12%?
let me check once. It is 5% without ITC if it is
विदाउट
below
आईटीसी,
7,500.
फॉर स्पेसिफाइड सप्लाई, फॉर दिस
Yeah,
स्पेसिफाइड सप्लाई।
yes,
ओके,
for the specified supply. That's what I believe.
ओके, ओके मैडम।
बट अभी लेटर ऑन कुछ क्लैरिफिकेशन के रूप में कोई सर्कुलर्स आए और फिर उसमें फिर रेवेन्यू क्या व्यू लेती है वो भी अभी टाइम के साथ देखना
बराबर,
रहेगा
यस।
इसमें।
राइट मैडम,
कि
राइट मैडम।
एज ऑन डेट मुझे ये पर्सनली लगता है।
ओके, 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 ओके।
Thank you, ma'am. Queries are continuously coming in the chat box. The last two query we will again continue. If under specified premises as per the preceding financial year, your lodging value greater than 7,500, still we need to file the annexure.
Sorry, can you repeat? Are you the
Yes.
limit is
If under the specified premises as per preceding financial year, lodging value greater than 7,500, still we need.
yes, in such a case, if the lodging limit is exceeding 7,500, then the annexer has to be filed and it will qualify as a specified premises.
Okay, and a person has a house near a beach. He gave it on a rent to the tourists, say about 70 to 80 days in a year. on weekend, he does not provide any food. How to pay GST on that? Will it be treated as a hotel?
See, if it is maintaining that property as a hotel, in such a case, the hotel rates will be applicable.
Thank you, ma'am. We will conclude here the question and answer session. I will hand over the charge to the member.
Thank you, ma'am. Now I request our committee member, Neha ma'am, for formal vote of thanks. Over to Neha ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Very good afternoon, friends. I am Neha Nanekar, the President of our association, Advocate Prasad Deshpande sir, Study Circle Committee Chairman Navneet Lal Boga sir, Treasurer of our association, Kailash Kashif sir, Convener Mrs. Ashwini Vidkar ma'am, Committee Member Subhash Borke sir, and our today's faculty, Advocate Jalal Dalal ma'am. On behalf of Maharashtra Tax Practitioner, I extend our heartfelt thanks to Advocate Jalal ma'am for delivering such an insightful and informative lecture. Your session on latest amendment of hotel industry and restaurant conducted through Zoom platform was truly valuable and enriching. We deeply appreciate your efforts, acknowledge and the clarity with which you explain the subject. Your contribution has greatly benefited to all the participants. Thank you once again for your invaluable contribution, support and dedication. Thank you so much, ma'am. Once again, thank you for your good lecture, ma'am. With the permission of President, sir, I declare that today's second session is over. Once again, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you inviting me for this study circle and giving me the opportunity to share my views on the hotel and restaurant services.
Okay.